You're watching News and Views on this Monday, the 29th of November. Good afternoon, buenas tardes. And with it being Monday, we usually have lots of local and national news for you. We've tapered it down a little bit because we've got two guests for you. The first part of the programme, it's singer-songwriter, musician, plays a lot of different instruments, and also has played with a lot of different famous people, such as Mark Knopfler, Lonnie Donegan, Van Morrison and Roger Daltrey, amongst others. And that's Mama Paula, who's also known on the coast here for the Mama Paula Blues Band. We've got the Euronews in between with Maria Jose Roman telling us what's happening in the local news as well. And then we'll have Veronese, who is from Fama Dance Academy, talking about their Christmas show that's coming up very soon. First of all, though, big welcome to you, Mama Paula. Good afternoon.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
That's okay, that's okay. You're very well known on the group. You've teamed up with lots of different people.
Nearly everybody, I think.
Yes, yeah. Just name some of them, just to remind people.
Oh dear, Lito, Colin Still, Marcelo Sainz, Carlos Pino, Dave Heaviside.
That's right.
Just to name but a few.
Of course, in the ever-popular Mijas Blues Festival, and you were on stage with Mud Morganfield as well, weren't you?
Yes, with Mud Morganfield, and the year before with Sugar Blue, the great harmonica player.
Now, you're going to be giving 2 gigs. You're going to be at 2 gigs, hosting them, playing at them, which we're going to talk about now. And then I think people will be interested in knowing about your influences in your career and that sort of thing as well. So first of all, a very important one is Rock Island Line Bar, and that's Fangarola Port on the 17th of December.
Yes, it is. That's Sharon Donegan's bar. Sharon is Lonnie's widow.
They live...
which I'll tell you a bit more about later on. It's a fantastic bar with lots of memorabilia, memorabilia from Lonnie Donegan, including gold discs and various photos that people wouldn't have seen before. So it's worth a visit just for the nostalgic view, you know.
And what type of music will you be playing? Will you be playing the rock and blues?
The rock and blues, which I'm normally famed for, with some original stuff, some of my stuff in there. And I'm hoping that we're going to be joined by Peter Donegan on stage. And I think David Donegan's going to come and play a bit of drums with us. So I think it will be good.
Oh, I know. I saw you a few weeks ago at the Temesa Golf Hotel, and that was for the La Cala Lions, wasn't it?
Yes, try and raise a bit of money for the wheelchairs and what have you.
Yeah, that's right, for a DME. And of course, that went down very well. Was that the one where you recorded it live?
We did that one earlier on in the summer. We did it outside by the pool, which was nice. And we had Johnny Tristram, very good singer, came and guested with us. Did a few songs with us. I'm going to cut a CD from the recordings of that, which I'll have out ASAP. Yeah. But there was some good, interesting stuff on there, and it was a good night. Good night was had by all.
By all, yeah. And of course, there's also another gig, which is December the 2nd. Now, I'm going to try and pronounce the name of this bar.
Rather you than me.
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah. It's Tirititran.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's in Arroyo. I've never been there before. It's a flamenco bar. They do a lot of dancing and flamenco guitars and what have you. And they want to break into something a bit more contemporary on a Thursday night up there. So they've asked to put the band together, which is, apart from me, it's all Spanish, my band. Yeah. They've asked us to put a rock and blues thing together. So we're going to give that a go on the 2nd of December, Thursday the 2nd. That'll be at 11 p.m. I think that'll be worth a visit as well, because it's like a new concept, and of course it's a new area, because I haven't played an awful lot over that way. I've done Malaga and this end up to Gibraltar, but we're sort of breaking a bit of new water. That should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be. And of course, very unusual as well, because like you said, it's normally a flamenco bar.
Well, I do a little style of flamenco blues. I use a flamenco guitar, and I get a bit of flamenco and blues mixed up, which is good.
Yes,
good.
it is.
Because I've always considered Spain to be the home of the guitar, which makes it such a pleasure to hear. You know?
All right. Yeah. Well, it brings me to another question. Just asking you who you were influenced by. I mean, did you like and get into music from a very young age?
Very, very young. I started playing at about 8, 9 years old. As I say, getting back to the Spanish guitar is what I had, so I was learning some flamenco styles back then. And when I was maybe 12 or 13, I came across a band, funny enough that you mentioned earlier today, was John Mayall's Blues Breakers.
Oh yes, because it's his birthday.
That's right, it's his birthday, God love him. And Mick Taylor was playing guitar for him at the time. Fantastic guitar player, and I just decided I want to do that. And of course now I do. I've never met Mick Taylor, but I'm sure our paths will cross, because I do believe he does quite a bit of work down here from time to time. That's where it all started, yeah. Okay.
Now, you've performed with, as I said, Mark Knopfler, Roger Daltrey, Van Morrison, Lonnie Donegan, Joe Cocker. You must have some absolutely fantastic memories.
I have, but I must clarify that the occasion that I played with guys was for the memorial concert for Lonnie Donegan.
Right.
And I was privileged to be invited to play on a song that Peter wrote about his father, a fantastic song called I Love You. I helped in the original recordings of that here in Mihas before we went to London with it, and Sharon invited me on the show, which was a fantastic thing for me and for my career. And I met all of these wonderful people. It was, in the words of Ray Cooper, it was a bittersweet occasion. It was a very good show, but it was a very sad occasion as well, because we'd lost Lonnie, who...
That was a terrible loss. Yeah.
Many people say he invented British pop, and I think he really did, you know. He helped so many people into show business. He was a wonderful man. You
have some, I don't know whether funny or unusual memories as well of your career.
When you're on the road with a band, I mean, there is a lot of fun, and I always like to pick out my stupid moments, because you know, everybody thinks you're cool and you do this, and faux pas, little name really. I remember we were in rehearsals for the Royal Albert Hall, and I was late because my taxi driver took me to the wrong location. And eventually I got there to find that there was problems with the cabling and they couldn't get a sound from the keyboard. So I got all of my stuff together, got into the song, and it started very, very slowly and worked up to the lead guitar break, which was my job. And I stepped forward when it was my turn, hit the distortion pedal on my pedal board, stepped back and trod on my cable and unplugged my guitar. That was the end of that. Luckily it didn't happen when we were at the Albert Hall, but it was a bit scary, has to be said. But a funny moment.
A funny moment.
I think it's when you do something, it reveals the human in you, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, it does, yeah. And also everybody else thinks, oh yeah, you're perfect, she's just like us. Everybody
was shaking their head like that, and I was hoping they weren't going, oh, what an idiot, you know. I was hoping they were going, oh, I remember when that happened to me, you know.
And have you got any special moments that you could share with us?
They're all special. I mean, I've made some wonderful in the business. That I still keep in touch with. Chick Churchill in particular, who was the keyboard player for 10 years after. He was at Woodstock.
Yes, I read up on that.
And what a wonderful place to have been, you know. And he played with me for 2 years down here on the Costa. A wonderful keyboard, and a really funny guy, you know, a good guy to be with. I met Alvin Lee through him, who is the legendary guitarist of 10 years after, a great player, who influenced me a lot in my early days as well.
Okay. And also, thinking about your current album, if anybody wants to perhaps sample your music and buy that latest album, it's called Cold Cuts, isn't it?
Cold Cuts. I can tell you about that. Now, that came from the experience of a Sopranos episode called Cold Cuts. And what it was, it's like Boxing Day. You're always having your cold cuts of meats and everything. Yeah. And Cold Cuts was put together with various different things from other albums that had done over the years, and all put together onto one album. So it was like, that's how it got its name. And you can listen to that on www.mamapaula.com, and you can buy tracks or buy the whole album. Or if you're lucky enough to know me, I'll probably give them.
Now then, your agent would be saying you mustn't do that.
I know.
Now, just to remind everybody again, 17th of December, and that's the Rock Island Line Bar, Fingarola Port. And is that from, did you say? Or?
That one will be a bit earlier. I think we're starting about 9:30 and we're finishing at 1 o'clock.
Okay. And this Thursday...
That's at the Tirititiran, Peligno Industrial Arroyo del Miel. That's around about 11 o'clock and probably go on till about 2 in the morning, I should think. Okay. I do believe both venues are free to get in, which is
That's
always
great.
good news.
Yeah.
And I believe the parking's quite good on both. One's on the industrial estate, which should be fairly easy. And of course, the Rocket Line is right opposite the big car park.
Okay then.
So come and see us, come and say hello.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having
I'm
me.
sure you'll be packed anyway.
I hope so.
I'm sure you will. And we have the Euro News now, and then Mario Jose will be letting you know what's happening locally and a weather update and traffic update. And stay tuned in, because then we've got Manuela Veronese from the Fama Dance Academy.
Washington is at the centre of a diplomatic crisis after the release of thousands of secret messages on the whistleblowing website WikiLeaks. Advance notice of the cache of nearly 250,000 so-called cables was made available to a handful of news. Some of them include candid views of foreign leaders and blunt assessments of nuclear and terrorist threats. Among the revelations are the opinions of Middle East leaders to Iran, as well as reports that Israel is continually urging Washington to be strong against the country and its nuclear. Other messages apparently disclosed that the US was happy to spy on the activities of the United Nations. Having been told of the imminent leaks, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has been urgently contacting foreign officials over the past few days to warn them of the disclosure. Although some of the information can be considered harmless, security analysts agree the release of the documents is embarrassing to say the least, especially the thoughts and criticisms levelled by US diplomats at its allies. US and international reaction to the leaks has been swift.
Someone committed a crime by leaking this information. I think WikiLeaks has behaved utterly irresponsibly by then disseminating it to the world. The whole notion of diplomacy is built on conversation, interactions of trust. That's the name of the game.
Italy's Foreign Minister Franco Frattini said